welcome to another edition of the Sportsport. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
We are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sportsport here on a Thursday. Yes. You know by that sound that it's the Barnes and Michaels show once again. What's going on, brother?
Dude, I'm happy to be here. I love your intro, dude. It's so fun. It gets this show ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just fall into a habit. You know, you don't know how you got there. Somehow you did. But I guess it's almost kind of similar to Mad Dog. Like, it's different, but like when he's like, "Good afternoon, everybody."
Yeah.
Kind of similar. So credit to him. That's for sure. And like we were talking about, before the show. First time, long time that we're here doing the show together, and there was no Yankee win the night before, but, listen, that's all right. It happens. Long season, and it's crazy. Here we are, May 1st, today is exactly 2 weeks away from the PGA Championship as well. Of course, the first full month of Major League Baseball in the works. And also, I know Josh B, I see, is in the building, riled for the Knicks game tonight. Last time we were here, we said we needed Michael for the win for the Knicks. So I think now more than ever, 2 games, season on the line.
Definitely think Knicks fans are nervous.
And I think Josh B is earning for the Michael, good juju here.
Just for Josh, I want them to win.
So, good to have Josh B here. I have to say, because I, have just been kind of, as Josh B knows, I'm watching the Yankees up 15 runs rather than watching the NBA playoffs, but, no Yankee game tonight. So I definitely will be tuning into that game. I'm kind of interested to see what happens. I think it's going to be tough, but I do think, that they're going to close it out. They already won a couple road games. And, I think it's just the thing you have to think about on the other side of things. Obviously, we're just looking at it from the Knicks side, is it's tough, once you're down 3-1 to win 3 games in a row and win a series. So the Knicks still have the advantage despite the bad feelings of, letting that one, slip through the cracks. And he says, going to be tough. Definitely need all the good juju. I definitely think it'll be a close game. I mean, those games, in Detroit, were decided by a total of 3 points. I think we're going to be looking at another tight one here. And obviously, Jalen with the ankle too, that doesn't make things any easier. But I do think they'll figure out a way. We'll talk about some NBA in a little bit. As always, Michael, if we could start in the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it! Yep. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Throw deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So as we know now, the Yankees last night dropping that final game in Baltimore 5-4. Valiant comeback effort. We're down 4-2. After the second inning, but unable to come all the way back. And listen, I mean, the back end of that Baltimore bullpen is tough. With Cano, who they have had a degree of success against, and then Felix Bautista. Having his first full season here in a couple years, looking like he's rounding back into form. But I think it's tough. And one thing that I didn't like going into this game, and not to say that it would have made that much of a difference. But just in terms of the lineup, Jazz with this potential, oblique injury that you would think, I mean, anytime, we're talking oblique, I mean, what are we talking about? We're usually talking about some type of lengthy injured list stint. He wasn't in the lineup, so instead of having, Oswald Peraza, play second, they had him play third, and then Pablo Reyes play second. And I just feel like at this point, we're wasting our time with Pablo Reyes. He's clearly, I guess as they would say, a quad A player. And as Waldo Cabrera has been doing it, an outstanding job, playing third base in terms of, hitting. I know he's made a couple errors, but and especially with an off day today, I just didn't understand that decision because I just think we know, what Pablo Reyes is. So anyway, just kind of going over the game here. It got off to a great start because after, Paul Goldschmidt, batting leadoff against left-handers here, after he flew out, infield pop-up, you had a Trent Grisham single, and then Aaron Judge homer. So his 10th homer. Aaron Judge, another huge game here. Still batting over 400. Went 3 for 3. And just like he was last year, in the face of this MVP race, once again, obviously very early on, but just absolutely crushing it. And it's interesting to think too how much he struggled all of April last year and where he is right now, to think about the numbers he put up last year and potentially what the numbers, he could put up this year. So that gave him a 2-0 lead. They didn't do anything else the rest of the inning. A Ben Rice strikeout and an Anthony Volpe line out. Bottom of the first. So you have Carlos Carrasco on the hill. And it's just one of those things, he was great. His previous outing, 5 scoreless innings. In this one, it was evident, he didn't have it. He was able to get out of trouble. He had 2 on, but was able to strike out O'Hearn and Laureano to end the first inning. Second inning, 1-2-3 inning for the Yankees. And then the bottom of the second, unfortunately, he gets into some trouble, after Jackson Holiday leads off the inning with a single. He gives up a home run to Ryan Mountcastle. And it's the same conversation, we have with these older pitchers, just saying how they really need to be so pinpoint accurate. Besides the fact that the velocity's down, a lot of them too, they just don't have the bite, on their off-speed pitches. And it's clear, he's going through both of those. So that gave it, that made the game 2-2. He strikes out Kierstad, but then, gives up a home run to Ramon Urias, next batter. So already you're down 3-2. Gets Mullins to fly out. So you got 2 outs, but he gives up a single to Gunnar Henderson, and then Adley Rutschman, after Henderson steals second, drives him in. So 4 runs there in the second. So that sets you back 4-2. So you go to the third inning. And the Yankees, get 2 walks in the inning, one of them intentional to Judge, but unable to, do anything, the rest of the way there. So you go to the bottom of the third, 4-2 lead. Carrasco, 1-2-3 innings. So you're thinking, okay, maybe he'll hang around for a little bit. Top 4, you get a walk, but that's it. So that was the thing. And I think the difference in this game is, you're going up against Cade Povich here. Like we were talking about when we were previewing this game yesterday. I mean, he's struggled this year. He's given up a lot of hits, and here you are. First few innings, you get the Judge 2-run homer in the first inning, but other than that, you're getting walks and you're not driving in guys, so you're just not taking advantage of the opportunities you had. And that, like I said, that was definitely the difference in the game. You want to strike against Povich rather than trying to do it against Cano, Batista, and some of the other relievers in that bullpen like Soto. So Carrasco in the fourth gives up a leadoff single to Kjerstad, and he strikes out Urias, but Kjerstad able to steal second. And then the Yankees go to Tim Hill, who, the rest of this inning gets the job done with a fly out and a ground out. And then you go, to the top of the fifth here. After Oswald Peraza flies out, Paul Goldschmidt, who homered, I believe it was opening day, if I'm not mistaken, finally hits his second home run of the season. So, he got robbed 2 nights ago. He goes to center field again, ironically, because the other home run Mullins had robbed in center. So that, brought the game to 4-3. So you're thinking, okay, maybe, we could just tie it up right here. But Grisham strikes out to make it 2 outs. Judge singles, and then a rare Judge getting picked off, which you don't really see too much after Sir Anthony Dominguez came in. So 4-3. Bottom 5. And then very unlike Tim Hill. I talk about all the time how, he's, complete nails all the time. And just for whatever reason, I really have I can't even think of a time where he walks 2 batters in a row, especially to start an inning. And that's exactly what happens here. So after that, he gets a fielder's choice ground out. But the problem was, there was a fielding error. So actually everybody's safe. So then you got the bases loaded. Jackson Holliday, hits into a fielder's choice, but that scores Rutschman to make it 5-3. And then fortunately, Fernando Cruz, talk about being nails all season, strikes out Ryan Mountcastle and gets Kierstad to fly out. So out of the jam, 5-3. So obviously chasing a couple runs here. You go to the 6th inning. Ben Rice, after having one of the best games, of his short career here, struck out again. I believe he struck out 3 times last night. So just for whatever reason, he was just struggling last night. Volpe singles, Wells singles. So this is what we're talking about. So you got 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And as John Sterling would say, all you need is a fly ball. You don't even need a hit. And Pablo Reyes is up. So again, maybe that did make a difference here because Reyes coming up in a big spot. Would you have not felt better? If you had Oswaldo Cabrera batting in that spot, he strikes out, and then Jason Dominguez strikes out looking. So they both, strike out looking. So that ends the inning there, 5-3. And I did see what do we got from Josh B here?
Joshy Bino. He's coming in here saying that's because I picked up Rice in fantasy. That's why he struggled.
Hey, I'm going to let you off the hook for that one, Josh, because the previous game, and obviously all season, Ben Rice has been unbelievable, really exceeding our expectations. But yeah, it's just enough with the Pablo Reyes. I just feel like it's just, we know what he is. And I know, Oswald Peraza hasn't been great either, but so much rather give him a chance now, while we have a roster spot rather than, barely playing him. And then we get to a point where we have to release or trade him. And we don't really know, what he is. And I know some people think they already know what he is, but I still think he's had so little at bats in the major leagues. He's had so little consistent playing time. You need to just play him, as much, as he could, as you can. So, that's my thoughts there. So you go to the bottom of the 6th, and Fernando Cruz. You want to talk about a guy, and I believe Josh. So many different fantasy teams get confused, but I believe we have him for fantasy. And talk about a good fantasy selection, striking out the side in the 6th inning. We talk about it all the time, but it's absolutely unbelievable. What Matt Blake has been able to do with him, and I know it's early in the season. But just the inconsistencies he had last year, and even in spring training when his ERA was over 10, seemed to be in the rearview mirror. And then I believe another one here from Josh B.
Joshy going, your draft suggestion, Enfuego, great pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So, it was good to see that. You go to the 7th here. Keegan Hagan walks Peraza to start the 7th. So you're hoping, okay, we lead off runner on. Maybe this is the inning, where we, tie the game potentially. Goldschmidt up, grounds out, but Peraza moves up to 2nd. Grisham up. Grisham's been great to start this season. Unfortunately, though, just to fly out. Does get Peraza to third, which allows Aaron Judge to drive him in with 2 outs, which you love to see. But then, what happens there? And Judge does move to second on a wild pitch, but Ben Rice comes up and unable to drive him in. So that was the theme of the game. Runners on, opportunities. And unfortunately, just not taking advantage of them. You go to the bottom of the 7th, Devin Williams in. So, second straight game here where, he's been down 1 coming into a game. So still tight, but, early on, this was the 7th. I think last time was the 8th inning. And he goes 1, 2, 3, which is nice to see. And it was, after he gets Rutschman to ground it out, O'Hearn does walk, but then Laureano strikes out swinging and Austin Wells throws out O'Hearn stealing. So good to see Williams seeming like he's building some confidence back. But the one thing I don't want to see them do, and I don't think they'll do this, is, okay, now let's not have it where already we're ready to put him back, in the closer role. I think give it like a couple more weeks, honestly. I want to see him just string together scores appearance after scores appearance because he's already given up more runs than he did all last season. I know he missed time, with the back injury, but the point being, he has been so terrible to start this season. Let's let him really build back up his confidence where there's no doubt, and we don't have to sweat it out every time he comes into a game. You want to talk about maybe on a day where a couple of relievers aren't available and he needs to close out a game, then we could have a conversation. But I think there's just no reason to rush back into that. So we go to the 8th. Brian Baker comes in for Baltimore. Again, we get the leadoff runner on. So, but what happens after that? Austin Wells lines out. Cody Bellinger pinch hitting. He had the night off with a left-hander on the hill. Strikes out, and Dominguez strikes out. So it's just these strikeouts, key spots, runners on. Got to get better with that. And that's why I always talk about how, we're in first place right now. And, there's a lot of stuff to clean up. So I think that's what makes it a good spot. But, now here we are, starting, the second month of the season, you want to see these things, buttoned up. So bottom 8, Mark Leiter Jr. comes in. He strikes out Jackson Holiday, gets Mountcastle to line out, gives up a single to Kierstad, infield single to Urias, but then he strikes out Cedric Mullins. So Mark Leiter Jr., we think about the Grand Slam in that second series of the year against Arizona. Other than that, he's been pretty lights out. I know he did give up that 1 run when Devin Williams, was having trouble, or I don't even think it was charged to him, but, the run ends up scoring after he comes in. But I think he's done a great job. So, just the depth of this bullpen, it's just something that you really feel good about. So on to the 9th inning here. So last chance for a rally, and unfortunately, against Felix Bautista. Listen, I know he's, a tough pitcher to go against, but they don't even really make it interesting here as Oswald Peraza follows out, Paul Goldschmidt grounds out, and Trent Grisham strikes out swinging. So, it was disappointing. You lose this series, 2-1, and you had 2 of the losses, were closer games where, you could have came back and won. So you wrap up April, obviously the game there in May, but 18 not in May, but in March, 18-13, game and a half up, on the Red Sox for first place. So, you are where you need to be, and you just want to build on that, going into this month, and you have another divisional series this weekend, and I'm proud to be at 2 of the 3 games at Yankee Stadium over the weekend, Friday and Sunday, and excited to see, because it was last Saturday, I was supposed to see Max Fried for the first time, obviously gets rained out, but he'll be pitching tomorrow. So that's definitely a big series, and obviously we played well against Tampa when we were playing them, at George Steinbrenner Field, winning 3 out of 4, but easily could have had a 4-game sweep there. So you feel good, about that matchup. They're still struggling, 14-16. So it's the mandatory 2 out of 3. But I think, there really is an opportunity here to get, your third sweep of the season. They have Peapot Little, and Bradley pitching. We have Fried, Schmidt, and Warren. And I know, Warren especially, has been hit and miss, but we have seen the good out of him. And I just think Tampa, especially not having to play them at the Trop, playing them at Yankee Stadium, and I just feel like, they're a diminished, version of themselves right now. So I feel pretty good about that. And you definitely want to, at least at the bare minimum here, win this series, because you have San Diego coming to town after that. And Michael King and Dylan Cease are two of the starters named for that series. So you're going to have your hands full. But I like where we're at, but you just want to see these improvements. And I guess we will find out, the severity, of the Jazz injury today. And I guess he's optimistic, but who knows? I don't know if he's just saying that. Like I said, it's just tough with obliques to think that it's just going to not be a big deal. And I'm kind of torn on this because, obviously he plays great defense at second. He's a threat on the bases every time he's on, but he's just really been struggling. So like, would some time off maybe help him kind of reset things? But having to see Pablo Reyes come up, in key spots, that's kind of tough to see. So I would lean towards we're better with him. So, we'll find out what happens today. But if I had to guess, I think it's still one of those things where, what is it? A 90% chance that he has to at least go on the injured list, even if it isn't long. But again, I just don't see, that many, that many oblique injuries that are short term. And I believe we have a Kev Taylor in the mix.
We do. He says, let's go. We want the smoke. LFGM. Jazz out for the season might be a blessing.
Yeah, not out for the season. We definitely don't want that. And he's not going to be out for the season. But, Kev's very big on the Jazz stuff. And at first, because I was tight, Mark, was very, I guess you could say not high on him, given, how he started out the season. I was giving him, okay, grace period. He's hit a bunch of home runs. He's going to get better. But it definitely has lingered on longer than I expected. And it's just because it feels like things that, should be able to be buttoned up. Because we understand he's an aggressive hitter. That's fine. We got aggressive hitters all over the league. But just certain times where it's like, you're swinging at balls that are so far out of the strike zone. It just feels like a lot of times like he goes up with no plan. And it's tough to see because, the raw ability he has, the raw power. I said it going into the season. He's a guy literally who has the ability, and there's a difference between having the ability and actually doing it, but the ability to have a 40-40 season. He has that much power. So you just felt like, with a little plate discipline, he would be able to really take his game, to the next level. We'll see, if he's able to kind of turn things around after this injury situation, is taken care of. And I just want to see, I'm sure it's just so early in the morning now. I doubt there's any updates on this, but I just want to give the old X a try here just to see what we have. But I know, like I said, the last thing I saw is that he was optimistic. Let's see here. And it doesn't look like, it's just the same thing. He hasn't gone under the MRI yet. So, we'll have to see, how that goes. And it's kind of ironic enough. The game, I'm going to tomorrow is, Jazz Chisholm Jr. Basketball jersey night. So,
are you going to be one of the first whatever amount of fans?
We'll see. We're getting there early because
you never do that though.
I don't do that, no, because I don't know, like
you're not into the gimmicks.
But it's not even that like it's a gimmick. And actually, at least that's something where, okay, like I want to go play basketball. I could like wear that jersey. It's kind of sick, or just wear it wherever. But the thing that I just get like annoyed about is people obsessing over the bobbleheads. I just like, I don't know. I've said it a million times. Like, are you just going to stare at it? I don't know. To me, it's like, I guess, sure, like you could resell it. But Josh B does say, I'd love one of those jerseys, LOL. So
Well, you're not getting one.
Maybe you could though, because my buddy, Mark, who Michael knows, can't stand Jazz. So maybe I can take it off his hands, Josh. I'll see what I can do. I can't promise anything. But he literally, like, to the point where he doesn't like Jazz so much, he almost like wanted to go to a different game because of that. But
That's absurd.
yeah. And I'm kind of curious what Josh B thinks, because we know what Kev thinks in terms of Jazz turning the corner. I mean, I think it's going to happen, but what do you think, Josh? I mean, do you think, once he's all healed up, I mean, that we'll see, somebody closer to the version of the guy we saw last year after we acquired him from Miami? Just kind of curious what you think there. But so like I said, off day today, big series, with the Rays on the horizon, and I can't wait to go to the stadium. It seems crazy, since me, Tony, Mark, Josh were there for opening day. I mean, that feels like forever ago. That was the last time I was at Yankee Stadium. So really excited to get there over the weekend. I feel good that, we're coming home, warm weather, an opponent that I feel like we're, fairly better than. I feel pretty good about this series. And it's nice that Max Fried sets the tone, because every time he takes the ball, we talk about all the time, just the true professional. And we've won every single start. He's 5-0, and then we won the other start where he didn't have a decision, which I think was his first start of the season because he didn't go 5 innings. So you love that. But like I said, a little tough that no Yankee baseball today. But I'll give the Knicks a shot. Maybe that's the juju, that the Josh B and Kev do, and all their fellow Knicks fans need here. So
yeah, I think Tony and I are gonna go to Horseshoe.
Oh wow. So
Jeff's working.
Jeff's working. Tony.
It's usually a quieter night, so we could play pool all night.
Yeah.
Jeff and Tony will drink the whole time.
And it's always, I always get a good chuckle, walking up the stairs. I mean, you could tell Tony after a Thursday at the
show. Can you?
Oh my God. No, I'm fine. Yeah, just a little tired. And it's like, I mean, he looks like he hasn't slept in days.
he doesn't like to admit it when he's had a couple too many.
Which I don't understand why. But that is a common thing, though. It's not just him. You think about it like, anybody like you see and you're like, oh, they kind of look popped, and you say like everybody's response instantly. They don't even think about it. It's always no. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure I've done that myself.
Yeah.
But what do we got from Josh here?
There's so much time. I think he could get out of the slump. Hopefully it's sooner than later. But man, 5 dots in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps on sucking. Let's pray he turns it around.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to argue that. I mean, he just really, some of these at bats.
Well, I mean, he's crazy. Like you've said it, I think time and time again. He's just swinging for home runs.
Yeah,
like you could tell.
And it's like I just don't understand this. I know I'm nowhere near a major league player, so what do I know? But I just, especially like you're struggling that bad. You're a fastball hitter. Like, why wouldn't you just go up there and just say, unless it's a fastball, I'm just not going to swing. And just hammer it, like, because I just feel like he takes, fastballs. I've seen him take 3 in a row and strike out. You know what I mean? And it's just like that's his pitch. Those are the pitches he needs to swing at. So we'll see what happens. So me and Tony, usually do a 6-pack of MLB picks, but I would say, Michael, we'll do the full league here. But if you could, I don't know if it's up on the soundboard. Get the baseball. It should be baseball tonight. I don't know. Tony always has, these odd labels for things. So.
He really does. It's like, why can't it just say MLB?
But I would imagine that it's somewhere. I'm trying to think of what it would be.
I have NHL.
It's got to be MLB.
It says
tonight.
ESPN Prime, NHL, Bull Song. Like I have those nice masters, nicely labeled. Here we go. He does. I take it back, Tony.
There we go. So
good job, Tony.
Run down the games here, and we'll get started. 12:35, PNC Park, and crazy. I haven't seen an update from this, and I don't know if you saw this, Michael, but a fan last night at PNC Park fell from 21 feet.
Yeah.
I haven't heard an update. I know he was at the hospital last night, but obviously, prayers out to him and his family, and just hope that they're okay. I mean, that is just so scary. I've never seen anything like that before.
You think he was popped?
I mean, you would kind of think, but I guess anything can happen. Who knows?
Yeah,
but you just hope he's okay.
Yes,
honestly.
exactly.
But the Pirates here, throwing out the best pitcher possibly in the whole league here, Paul Skeens, 3-2, 239, going up against Colin Ray, 1-0, .96. Pittsburgh -150, interesting, 12-19. Cubs are 18-13, but obviously that's all because of Skeens. And I agree with the line. I think the Pirates will win. O'Neal Cruz, have him for a couple fantasy teams. I'm going to say he goes 3 for 4, 2 home runs. Skeens, 7 innings, 14 strikeouts. And I'm going to say the Pirates win this game 4-1. So give me the Pirates in the under there. 12:40. So first pitch 5 minutes later, another AL Central battle. You got the Cardinals and the Reds. You got Abbott versus Liberatore here. The Reds, we talk about Cruz here. How about Ellie De La Cruz? He's been off to a nice start, flying around the base paths for the Reds. And the Cardinals, 14-17, definitely inconsistent here. I like the Reds, and I think De La Cruz can win this game himself. Cardinals have been very inconsistent with the bats. Wilson Contreras struggling. Arenado's been off to a decent start, but I think Abbott gives him 6 scoreless. And I think Cruz is going to go 4 for 5, a homer, 5 RBIs, 2 steals. And I think the Reds are going to win this game. Let's say 6-2. And I believe we're talking about a total here of 7.5. I just want to double check that, but I believe that would be 8.5. All right, so we're gonna go the Reds and the under for the second game of our MLB frenzy here. Third game, and I know I'm gonna hear something from Kev Do about this, but it's not. And I know he's gonna say the whole Yankee fan thing and the stuff he always says here. But the Mets, tough loss last night. Rallying, bases loaded, 2 outs by the 9th. Maybe Soto could have contributed more besides that walk earlier in the inning. But anyway, got Zach Gallen versus Kodai Senga. And listen, I mean, Senga, just like the rest of the Mets pitching, has been great. And Zach Gallen, who is one of the best pitchers in the league, 1-4, 5.57 ERA, so struggling this year. So would you kind of say he's due? Law of averages. Also, the Mets have won 13 of 15 home games this year. Obviously, have not lost back-to-back home games. But again, the law of averages. I just think, you're playing with fire. And Senga is a good pitcher, but some of the other pitchers, to count on them going out and throwing up zeros, I just think it's asking a lot. And I think Gallen, is going to stifle, this Mets offense. So I think this is a low-scoring game, but I love Arizona with the plus 135. So give me 6 scoreless from Gallen, and I'm going to say Ketel Marte gets Senga, 3-run homer, 4th inning, and I think the Diamondbacks win 4-1. So give me the Diamondbacks in the under. We're moving on to George M. Steinbrenner Field, a great pitching matchup. The former Met, Seth Lugo, opposed by Shane Bies. Lugo 2-3, 3.08. Shane Bies 3-0, 2.45. Royals' tough start to the season have turned it around recently, 16-15, but only 5-10 away from Kauffman Stadium. The Rays, like we talked about, 14-16, 9-12. So I'm gonna say the Rays get this done. Get their winning out of the way before they head north to the Bronx. So I'm gonna say Bies, 6 innings, 1 earned run, striking out, let's say 8. And then I'm going to say Yandy Diaz, grand slam, 5th inning, catapulting the Rays here to victory. We're going to say 5-1. So we're going to go Rays in the under. Another 110 game here. We're in Cleveland. The Guardians hosting the Twins. You have Woods Richardson on the hill versus Ben Lively. And this is interesting. The Twins have struggled at 13 and 18. So, even though Lively's not great, but I just think, I don't know, I don't like the direction of this Twins team this season. So give me the Guardians, give me Jose Ramirez, 2 home runs. And I think we're going under again. I think we're going to say the Guardians win, let's say 4-2. So we're going to go Guardians in the under there. And a little bit of toilet bowl action here in Chicago. The White Sox 7-23, hosting the Brewers. Brewers, have hung in there at 16 and 15. You got Patrick versus Burke. But we talked about Yelich yesterday. Need him for fantasy. I think he does it today. And this is finally where we go over. I think the Brewers, will put up a lot of runs here. I think they're going to embarrass the White Sox here. Let's say they win 9-3. So we'll say the Brewers in the over there. 2:35 start. Globe Life Field. The Rangers, Tyler Mahle, opposed by the former Ray, Jeffrey Springs. You got the Rangers 16 and 15, the A's 16 and 15. Mahle is obviously far outpitched what Jeffrey Springs has done this year. And I just think Texas is a better team. I know the records are the same, but I like the complexion of this Texas team. I think they're due for a bounce back this year. So I think they're going to win this game. We'll go over it again. I'm going to say 7-4. So the Rangers in the over there. A National League East battle. Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies and the Nationals here. Tawan Walker, the former Met, 1-2, 2.78. Going against Lord for Washington, 0-3, 4.67. Know about Walker. He can maybe even make the All-Star team first half and then falls off a cliff. Almost similar to what Marcus Stroman does. So I think the Phillies, who have won a couple of games here after really struggling, getting swept by the Mets. I'm going to say they're going to win this game. Let's say Harper, 2 home runs here. I think it's a decisive win. It's an over. Let's say 8-3. So we'll go Phillies in the over there. We have the Red Sox in Toronto. Series finale there. Jose Barrios on the hill. Blue Jays won, I believe, in extras last night against Tanner Houck, who, I feel like has some of the best stuff in the American League. Has struggled this year, 0-2, 7.58. Barrios pitched well against the Yankees last time, 1-1, 4.24 ERA. And listen, we're Jays fans tonight. And I know they're not that far back in the standings, but I don't think they're a true contender this year. And obviously, Houck has not pitched well. Vladdy kind of due to get going. Doesn't have that many home runs this season. So I'll say they'll edge out the Red Sox here. I think a lower scoring game. Let's say 4-3. So we'll go the Blue Jays in the over there. 2 games left. Yusel Kikuchi versus Casey Mize at Angel Stadium. 9:38 tonight. I'm going to say the Tigers are going to win this game. I know they just lost two out of 3, and that was to the displeasure of John Pollock there. But Angels, after a decent start, kind of falling back into their old ways at 12 and 17. So I think Mize will stifle the offense here of the Angels. I think this is an under game, but give me the Tigers 4-2. So it's Tigers in the under there. Last game of the night. You got the Giants at Oracle Park hosting the Rockies. The Rockies at this point are the auto fade. I believe they won yesterday, but 5-25. Giants 19-12. Verlander struggling so far at ERA a tick below 5. But this is the opportunity here, for him to, turn it around. And I think he's going to deliver 6 scoreless innings, striking out 9. And I think this Giants offense gets going. Adames and Yastrzemski with homers. And I think this is a shutout, honestly. I do. I think it's 7-0. It's going to be the Giants in the under. And just like that, that is your Thursday edition. A little special MLB frenzy here. So a lot of games on the docket. Always obviously doesn't have the same juice when your New York Yankees aren't on the field. But listen, we've played a lot of games so far in a short amount of time, resting up for the weekend. And I did see we had one other, Josh B.
Sorry, I was having water. No Harper, 2 hours, please.
Homers.
Oh, Josh, you got to change that abbreviation.
Come on, Josh.
I'm playing against him on Kev's team in fantasy.
Fantasy is tough, especially multiple teams. So one thing could help you, one thing could hurt you. But that's why we play the game. So so I think now would be a good time, and hopefully, I'll see if I could do it myself. But Ernie always big with these grids, but at least we know Josh B dialed in. Michael, if we could just pull up the old immaculate.
Yes, we can. Share the screen. Immaculate. Bang.
All right. So let's see. To get started here, just trying to think of something that would be kind of different. What the heck was his name? The old Mariners closer. Or actually, you know what? Okay, bottom right. Let's do Chris Wilson, Kris, and then Wilson.
Bottom right.
Yep.
Say it again.
Chris Wilson with a K.
0.1.
How about that, Michael? Okay,
that's a good start.
We're just getting started here.
That's a good start. That's what you like to see.
You do. So just trying to think of kind of guys that are on everybody's radar here. Who was that closer for the Mariners? Was it Sasaki? I need to try to look this up. Hold on. Okay, yes, Michael. So search Sasaki, and then it's the bottom name there, Kazaru.
Which one is it?
Actually, no, don't do it, because I think. Oh no, that was Matsuki. Okay, do it. Yeah, Kazurui Sasaki. Where? So if you go, I'm behind. But if you just type SA
in the middle, or
so this is going to be middle right, and then it's SASAKI.
SASAKI.
Yeah,
Roki.
No, Kazurio.
1%.
How about that, Michael? Huh?
Those are that is a start, dude. You've gone 3 scoreless innings.
All right. So just trying to think. Cleveland here. Somebody that not everybody's thinking about. You know what? I think do Andrew Miller.
Where's that?
So that's gonna be top right.
Top right. All right, this could be the make or break. 2%.
All right, so we are, as Tony would say, moving and grooving here. Now, obviously, it gets tough. Those ones, there's a lot of options for. These, not as much. So just trying to think about things here. Detroit and Seattle. Let's see, Kansas City. I'm trying to think who. And then with the Expos, don't want to say anything too obvious. Yes, Ernie, just fire away. He says he's here. We call him the Swami. Always very good at these things. I don't know why. I'm just like completely blanking here. Third base, Kansas City and Detroit. I know some like Washington with obviously like Randy Johnson, but that I feel like everybody's gonna be thinking about that. I would think. And let's see, Cleveland Expos, Bartolo Colon. I guess I put out the bat signal. That's what Josh B says.
Yeah. So whenever Batman needs to be, called to duty, they throw up the light. Detective Gordon.
Yes.
So
we need to take back this city. Javi. All right. So just try top lefts. Bartolo Colon.
You sure?
Yeah.
You sure?
It could be 20%, but whatever.
Should we wait?
No, it's all right. It's all right. We gotta get.
It is 21.
All right. At least I knew it, Michael.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
I feel like it should have been lower, honestly.
I know.
Who knows that shit?
I know. All right. So Nationals, Kansas City.
As Drupal,
that would probably was for the Guardians. And
I told you to wait.
I know. But Ernie, just give us something else. All right. All right. So Detroit, Cleveland. Just trying to think. Who the heck? Okay.
Willie
One-
Moe, Mariners Nationals.
Okay, so that would be middle left.
Willie.
Mo Pena.
Is it like IE?
WILY, and then
WILY.
and then MO.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. 0.7.
There we
Damn,
go.
We'd be cooking if we waited for Ernie one.
That's a fat dime right there.
That is.
Let's see here. So Kansas City and Washington or Detroit did Mike Sweeney play for the Mariners? Just trying to think here. Detroit and Seattle. Okay, I like this one. So bottom left, Emilio, so EMILIO, Bonifacio. 1%.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so that's a good one there by Ernie. And I have to say, I don't know if it's like the AL Central that stripped me up here, but I feel like, and I feel like I was gonna say Juan Gonzalez for Cleveland and Detroit. But it just feels like, it would be too high. Just trying to think about if there's anybody else. I mean,
Sean Casey, Cleveland, Detroit.
all right, let's do that one.
2%. Oh, we should have waited for him.
This
This would be an immaculate grid.
it still actually might be pretty good though. And then Josh B says KC and Detroit, so that would be bottom middle. Wilson Betterment.
Wow.
What was it?
1%.
Yeah. So now we are one away here. Detroit and Seattle. Trying to think. Detroit and Seattle.
Mariners, Detroit,
Mike
Maben.
Cameron? Okay. Yeah, dude. Cameron Maben, the former New York Yankee.
4%.
What's our score?
31.
I think that's pretty good, especially with that 20
I know.
at the top. I know could have been better, but I have to say, that's why Josh B and Ernie are the best.
Mhm.
Just because that was the right side that was good. I don't know, weird mix of teams. Can we get some more Yankees in the mix? I mean, is that too much to ask for?
I know.
But it's all right. What are we gonna do? We move on. But good to get another grid in the mix there. And like I said, excited for this series coming up, between the Yankees and the Rays. But I would say, Michael, it's a good time to go to the world of the National Basketball Association.
Wow.
The Bulls go! LeBron James at the buzzer! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
The Lakers did not win the game.
Right. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I think he doesn't know that we're on, but I would think, too, that Michael Bucka would have notifications on.
Either that or he's like just sleeping or
but
he's
he'll
depressed.
say that he didn't know. But like I said, I feel like the notifications. But I think it's
He's
just
probably sleeping.
it's tough for him. The only thing I would say is, and I don't know, maybe he was up late with Ernie. I mean, who knows?
I mean, they do have a lot of
Late night contact.
I don't know. It loves brewing over there.
But this game, I mean, just got off on the wrong foot, and the Lakers never recovered. Took a small lead. I think it was in the second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, Minnesota, dominating this game, winning 103-96. So second straight year, Lakers sent home in the first round. And, this is coming into a playoffs where the expectations were high. You're gifted Luka Doncic, and, you don't know how many years LeBron has. And he did say, after the game, he's not sure about his future, this and that. I mean, I would imagine, knowing him, he's not going to not let, America know before he plays his last season. So I'm sure he'll be back, and that's just kind of part of the process, whatever. But in this game, he had 22, 7, and 6. I mean, not terrible, only 1 of 5 from 3-point range. Luka only 2 of 8 from 3-point range.
His
28
defense
points.
is so bad,
Luka,
dude. Ridiculous.
And I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's a chance? Because obviously he's had this type of body type his whole NBA career.
Have you seen him his rookie year?
Yeah,
he was so thin, dude.
Yeah,
And
I
in
mean, but I still
shape
feel
and
like
dunking
though,
on people.
but was he ever like jacked though?
No, but he was at least like thin.
Cut.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like,
but what I was saying
super
is,
mobile.
barring, we're given that, LeBron is going to come back here. Do you think there's a chance though he could get jacked?
Yes.
Full off season, Taco Tuesday,
couple
all
steroids,
that stuff.
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. And what does he have? One more year left on his contract?
No, they have to sign him.
So he's a.
Have you heard the rumor?
No.
That Dallas
is going to resign him?
And they'd have AD and Kyrie, him.
Yeah.
Which would be nuts. That would be like the craziest finagle, I think, in NBA
It would
history.
be, but I just feel like,
and they're just like, just play it off.
But
there
must be something, with Luka where he's saying fuck them.
Honestly. No, but what if it was like discussed?
I mean, that would be crazy. But I'm just saying, I don't think it was discussed. I really think that GM is that like much of an idiot.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, do you think he wants to stay with the Lakers?
I do. Honestly, because I just think it's just one of those things, and you can say about the future of the team, this and that. But I think people, like, once they are playing for the Lakers, they want to stay playing for the Lakers, and I just think they like that atmosphere. That would be my guess. We'll have to see what happens, but the Timberwolves is interesting because they had a better year last year in terms of the regular season. But so there weren't really a lot of expectations. I mean, we know what Edwards is, and it's interesting. They closed him out here, and Edwards probably has his worst game of the postseason. 0 of 11 from 3-point range, 5 of 19, 15 points. But Rudy, 27 and 24, like he's, I don't know, Wilt Chamberlain.
Well, they played small ball.
Yeah.
So that hurt him not having bigs, dude.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And even Randall had a nice game, 23 points there.
I don't think they're getting past the second round, though. I'll tell you that.
Do we know?
It's either Rockets or Golden State.
Okay. And speaking of that, the Rockets did win. I thought Golden State was going to close it out, but they'll have a chance to do that game 6 at home. Were you surprised that Houston hung on there?
Or? No. I had a feeling. They're a good team. I mean, I saw it coming. I mean, I wasn't. I think it was destined for the Warriors to close it out in 4-2, not in Houston.
And Houston really controlled this game wire to wire, and they're a team that definitely, has a bright future. Tons of younger players and some key veterans. But it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Golden State, will close it out in Game 6, and it's just one of those things. I mean, you look at the scoring in this game. Curry only had 13 points.
He's got a hurt thumb.
8. So I mean that doesn't help. But you'd expect.
And they sat him early, dude. They took out the starters so early.
Yeah, because I mean their leading scorer was Moody with 25 points. So. Yeah, I think they'll bounce back there. It's interesting. Ernie says it's baseball season now, which I mean, obviously I agree with. And he says Euro players are loyal, which is interesting. And I forgot somebody else was saying that not too long ago, but I agree. I think Luka will stay. And then we got the 2 games tonight. The Knicks, Pistons, the Nuggets, Clippers. So this is a
good night of basketball.
TNT doubleheader. Yeah, a good night of basketball. And I feel like, with the Knicks here, now you truly believe here.
I think it's going 7.
You think it's going 7? And like, is it close? Like, what's your kind of trajectory?
I guess we got to see what Brunson looks like, how hurt he is. But I mean, if you're Detroit, are you not super confident? I mean, technically you should either, I mean, the series should be over or you should be up,
right?
X amount of games. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Knicks have gotten a little lucky, especially that no call. The refs even had admitted after it was a
oh yeah, the Josh Hart. Yep.
So
3 points deficit. Both.
I mean,
games
that's 2 that's 2 wins right now in a row. Technically, you'd have, and be talking a lot different. You'd be going back to Detroit to close it.
Yeah.
No, and they're, dude, like, this is what I'm talking about. Knicks fans are like, Knicks. And I'm a Knicks fan, but like, this team's trash. And the way it was built is trash. We have no picks. Everyone's paid a lot of money. The people that are paid a lot of money, I'd say Towns and Brunson are doing their thing. But I mean, you could still get more from Towns, in my opinion. And then, dude, Detroit, I can't stress this enough. Cunningham, rookie contract. Jaden Ivey, rookie contract. Their center, I forgot his name right now, rookie contract. 9 players, first time in the playoffs. Right? Yeah. And he's a solid big.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 players first time in the playoffs, and you're taking this, heavy hitting Knicks team to 6, maybe 7 games. I mean, if you're Detroit, you're pumped.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were saying they expect, I think they were saying on DNR, the atmosphere there to be nuts because they didn't expect to have another home game, so that the fans there would be riled. And I think it's just one of those things. They were also saying, that they're built for the future better here. So this is probably, you would say with this current group anyway, kind of like the last time you would think the Knicks, would be able to, take them out. But it's obviously it's been tough, but definitely a bright future ahead. But yeah, I don't know. I just have a feeling, they were able to win 2 games in Detroit already, that they'll be able to figure out a way. And I think what you really need, like you kind of alluded to, is your big guns, Brunson and Towns, to have big games here, maybe combining for 60 to 70 points, like that type of performance. Also, because, we just saw last night big stars and big spots not have big games. So, I think also in correlation with that, you're going to need to see, the Cunningham struggle. And then that would really play into, the Knicks winning here. So I think it's going to be a close game. And I think it's going to be an under game. I know the total is not too high here at 230 or 212.5. But yeah, I'm going to say the Knicks win 101-97. So I think it's, like I said, it'll be a tight game. Advance to the second round. Boston's ready. Boston's rested. They're talking about that, how, this really set you back in terms of rest.
So much.
Brunson healthy, so you hope he doesn't aggravate this ankle injury during this game. But that's kind of my thought there. Me and Tony were talking about it quickly yesterday, but for the nightcap here, how we're surprised we were with that Nugget effort here, up 3-2, chance to close out. Thought everything was in turmoil. I mean, Murray obviously went crazy last game.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was a Murray display that kind of deflated the team, which, it'll happen. 7 games is a long series. It's a back and forth. I think the Nuggets could go 7 games with the Clippers, and then it's up for grabs.
So you think big bounce back performance, prime Kawhi, Jimmy Hardon?
Yeah, it's tough though. That dunk,
Gordon,
that it could have been deflating.
Yeah,
it really could have. But we'll see, I guess, tonight. But I'll go Clippers tonight to extend the series.
And not to go contrarian, it's always good to have two other sides. But I don't know. For, like you kind of said with the Gordon dunk, the Murray. Also, Jokic really did not have a good game last game. So I think for me, that points to the
Westbrook
Nuggets
played well.
Closing it out. Yeah. Westbrook did close it out. It's amazing how he seemed done like 3 years ago, and he's kind of hung on here. I don't know.
And Harden, it's impressive.
Especially Harden. Because Westbrook, it's not like he's doing that good. Yeah. Harden is actually like playing really well, which you just didn't see that coming.
No.
So, and this one, I'm going to say an over, but I'm going to say the Nuggets are going to win 115-110.
Okay.
So, we'll have to see. But yeah, definitely, like you said, good night of basketball. Also, speaking of the basketball, Josh B says, I think Thibs is not playing them properly. The rotations is just not working. Don't know why it's so different in the playoffs, the way they run plays in the bench use. So there's been some conversation about that. But I think, maybe I would say definitely, actually, if they end up blowing these 2 games in the first round, maybe then he would get canned. But I think barring
I think they'd give him 1 more year.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm guessing. But barring maybe they get swept by Boston and this just isn't going to happen, but lose every game by 20 plus points, maybe then they would fire him. But I'm not really seeing that.
I think he has 1 more year.
So
my mom with the heart emoji.
Yes.
Wow.
Great to have her with us here
Hey, Mom.
So yeah, I think some good games, and like I said, I definitely will tune into this one, specifically with the Knicks. The other game, probably got to get to bed, but
Yeah, definitely. But definitely going to watch the Knicks.
yeah, so that'll be interesting. 7:30 TNT. But if we could take a trip, Michael, to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here he comes. McDavid shoots. Top shelf. He scores. Captain with the overtime winner. That's the middle pick. It's a world-class hit right here. Tomsky stepping. Rick Washington made the full split save.
Are you kidding me? Turn. Side of the net. Between the legs and they score. Filthy. David Pasternak.
The silver trophy to the Golden Knights.
We might hear that in a few weeks, but last
I
night,
hate seeing the Rangers highlights.
oh yeah,
Because, we saw none of that this year.
yeah, no, exactly,
hit.
exactly.
When did you hear that?
And it's a big offseason for them, and I mean, it hasn't gone well in terms of moves that they've made in the past couple of years. Hopefully this year is different. We'll see.
I was really hoping McDavid was going to get bounced first round, dude. And then it'd be like the perfect storm of
well, he still could. They're up 3-2.
I know, but they're going to win.
No, they are.
They switched the momentum.
But there might be something, not everything Tony says is complete nonsense, but there might be something where, maybe McDavid needs to win that cup first there.
We did say that.
Yeah.
We did. We said that too. I
so-
do like that outcome too, where it's like, then I don't owe you anything. I can
Right.
leave.
But what the unfortunate part is, but I think regardless of what happened this year, we were going to have to wait a little bit for this. So I would rather have them win the cup this year, because then that happens. Then maybe, people get fat and happy after cups, movement and stuff. And then that could eventually.
I would take Bedard too.
Oh, of course. Of course. But yeah, that's the type of player they need. So we'll see how the offseason goes. But in terms of the ice last night, we had two teams advance to the second round. The first, the Capitals over the Canadiens, 4-1. So the surprise dream season for Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
dude.
dude.
The Capitals
I'm sorry. I know they're in our division and whatever, but I want Ovechkin to get one more. And to beat Carolina. I mean, that should be the Whalers.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I hate seeing that.
Yeah. No, you're right. And he did score in this game. He had 4 goals in this 5-game series against Montreal. This one wasn't in question, up 3-0 after 2. Tom Wilson also had his second. But yeah, the Capitals look primed to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals. It'd be interesting too, because obviously different conferences here. If we did see a matchup between Washington and Edmonton in the final, and could that be a passing of the torch, Michael? I know you want to see, Ovechkin win one more, but maybe more important, McDavid get the cup out of the way, pave the way for him to go to New York Rangers. It's so funny though, because Tony gets so tight, and we've been on this train about McDavid for a while, but he will be so riled for McDavid once this happens, though.
Dude, he will be the he's going to be the one that gets the jersey for Christmas.
Yes,
and, you know what I mean?
yes, exactly.
And it's just going to be a whole different energy towards him for sure. It's hilarious how much he hates him right now.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, just because we've harped on it, it's just ridiculous.
They've got the 2 best players.
They don't win. Well, yeah.
Well, they have a shitty goalie too. How are you supposed to win?
And it's just sports. I mean, it's not that easy. You don't just win, obviously. Anyway. Panthers close it out 6-3 over the Lightning, 2-2 game after 1, but they pull away from that point on. So the defending champs move on to the second round. Really dominated this series. I thought it would be close. I thought it would be 7 maybe. But Marchand was a big ad here for Florida. So they're going to look to get back to the Stanley Cup. And the Lightning, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. A couple of disappointing playoff finishes in a row here. I mean, we saw, the Penguins get rid of Mike Sullivan. Is John Cooper out? On the way out? And even if he is, I mean, please, the Rangers should pick him up right away. So could be some potentially, some really good high quality hockey coaches available. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, the Panthers definitely a threat to repeat here. And the Jets bounce back. We talked about the struggles of Connor Hellebuck. They bounced back here 5-3, so 1 game away from going to the second round. Hellebuck didn't have to do much, wasn't great 16-19, but good enough for the win. And Kyle Connor had his 4th here, for Winnipeg. So I think they'll be able to close it out. I know St. Louis obviously has been a feisty team this series. But the Jets, I know Hellebuck and the Jets have had their playoff struggles, but I think we're going to see them, really enforce their will here and get to the second round of the playoffs. And I just wanted to just take a look here before we look at, good action actually on the ice tonight as well. But this 4-game set. So, yeah, like you said, it will be Capitals, Hurricanes, and then the Florida Panthers, the only other team that's advanced here, is going to play the winner of the Maple Leafs and the Senators. And then in the Western side, winner of Jets Blues plays winner of Stars Avalanche, and then winner of Golden Knights Wild will play the winner of the Oilers and the Kings. So if, the 3-2 leads hold here, Golden Knights Oilers, that'll be a great series. And then Blues and Stars would be a great series. We're hoping that the Avalanche come back. We'll see. So definitely going to be some good hockey, and definitely will pique my interest a little more as we get deeper into the playoffs. But it's just always so tough. That's why, like with baseball, anytime, like the Yankees are eliminated, I don't watch the rest of the playoffs because it's just not the same. But hockey, a little different. I can get over the sting a little quicker than I could, in terms of baseball. But in terms of the 4 games on the ice tonight, very precarious situation here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've been the brunt of many jokes. And I don't know, the exact statistic. As Michael Butka, the alarm clock has went off, says, whoa, the early morning start. Always wants to know how come.
Everything. He wants to know every detail.
Coordinates, yes. What time's the appointment, what's your sister's name, yes. What's her address,
yes.
Her phone number. Come on, Michael.
Barnes has an appointment, and I have
an appointment.
We both have appointments.
There we go, Michael.
Wow. Had
Wow.
very, very late night contact with Ernie at 12:48 a.m. and was talking with Josh B quite a bit last night.
Chuckling to himself over there. But what I was getting at,
ridiculous.
Toronto brought many jokes, a lot of first-round losses, something like 7 out of the last 8 times in the playoffs, something like that, whatever. But they're up 3-0 here. Senators win game 4 in overtime and then win the last game. So now they're at home. The fans will be riled. So I know you would have game 7 on home ice, but I just think you can't let the door open a little more here. You have to close out. I think they will. I don't think it'll be easy. As Michael Bucket says, he's laughing to himself right now as you're reading my comments. But I think they'll get the job done here. I think it's a high scoring game, but I think they win 5-4. Austin Matthews, a type of player the Rangers could use as well.
I know.
I think taking the game into his own hands. I think 4 points here, 2 goals and 2 assists. And I think go-ahead goal with 1:30 remaining. So Senators showing the door. Maple Leafs on to the next round here. And then, the other so that'll be a great series against Florida. For sure. And it'd be interesting, can the Maple Leafs finally, get over the hump there? The next game, 7:30 on ESPN, Golden Knights and the Wild. This has been interesting. Wild have given the Golden Knights everything that they can handle. But it was big for the Golden Knights last game to win. And I think game 4, they won in overtime. They win last game. So a chance here to close out, talking about, players that the Rangers would like to have, and maybe not in the same category as a Matthews or a McDavid, but Jack Eichel, I think will take this into his own hands. I think, he'll have 3 points in this one, a goal and 2 assists. And I think the Golden Knights, another tight one. But I think they'll win 4-3. 9:30 TBS. Kind of interesting. The Avalanche, I think it's 0-5 at home against the Stars in the playoffs last 2 years. I think they'll break that. We need a game 7. We'll get a game 7. This team is too talented to go in 6 in the first round. So I think another tight game, overtime game. And speaking of guys, the Rangers love to have Nathan McKinnon. I think we'll send this to game 7 in overtime. So give me Avalanche here 5-4. So that'll be another exciting hockey game. And then the nightcap, Tony's favorite game, was so tight that the Kings finally lost at home last game to the Oilers. Now Oilers, Rogers Place, going to be rocking, with the opportunity here to close out
I mean,
this
they're going to do
series.
it. It's
And they're
crazy.
going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, I think
They look so
McDavid.
fast.
How about this, Tony? 5 points in this one. 5, okay? Imagine Panarin doing that. Oh, yeah, what is this? The alternate universe? Come on.
No.
But yeah, they do have the speed. It's unbelievable. And
He's got 5 arrests.
I really hope that they just win the cup this year, because then it'll be total, like, Tony will just not know what to say at this point. But
go on a bender.
Yeah, go on a bender. I'm gonna say McDavid, 2 goals, 3 assists. And I think the Kings, mediocre on the road, 17-19-5 regular season. I think they lose here. And they lost both games in Edmonton already this series. So I'm gonna say 5-1. I think it's decisive. And I think it's really going to set up, for some great matchups here in the second round. I mean, Golden Knights, Oilers. I mean, talk about a powerhouse series. That's been a Western Conference final before. So I think that's going to be great. What do we got? Michael Budka.
Hold on a sec. Michael Buckta.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning,
day
Michael.
after the funeral, Michael, I know.
Thank God that my eyes just opened. Thank God.
Why is that, Michael?
Or else I would never have known that this early start I would have.
But you don't have the notifications on your phone?
You got to put the notifications on YouTube on.
I guess I don't have them. Oh.
I mean, I would think, Ernie and Josh B, who have their notifications on, would have thought
you
either
just
way.
got to go to the main page of the YouTube and hit the alarm bell.
Oh. Okay, I didn't know.
Well, now you know. All right, you got.
Well, now I know.
We both have appointments, so we're going to be wrapping up soon. But tell me how you felt about. Tell me how you felt about last night, Michael.
That was so bad. Oh my God, I was pissed.
Were you yelling and screaming?
No.
You weren't yelling and screaming.
No, because
way.
you did say you saw it coming.
Well, I mean, I saw the Lakers getting eliminated. Yeah, but that fourth quarter, was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
It was a disaster.
What do you think? No question, Luka re-signed in the offseason?
Oh yeah, and plus he even said it.
What did he say?
He said that he will sign a contract extension with us this offseason. I saw him say that during an interview with Malik Andrews.
After the game?
No.
This is a little bit ago?
Was 2 weeks ago. No, this was 2 weeks ago, I think.
Gotcha.
So I saw him
Gotcha.
interview, yeah. But
it was tough.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it was tough, but I was going to say also, does this, like, for you, take the juice for the playoffs away? Like, now you don't even want to watch the rest of the playoffs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like it's pointless.
No Knicks watching?
Because now I've got to wait 5 months to watch them play now.
Yeah.
5 months.
No, I always say, with like the Yankees, playoff elimination, toughest part is thinking how long, not even just to get to the season to start, but to get back to that point in the playoffs. I mean, it's a year.
I know.
It's a year. It's tough.
Do you think LeBron's coming back, Michael?
Yeah, I do. Because I just know that him and Luka are set to win a championship together at some point next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be his last one, though. But he needs another year for Bryce.
No.
He needs another year for Bryce. That's a long way to stretch it.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know if Bryce can make it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see how he does in college.
I think the main focus this offseason, besides signing Luka to that contract extension, is that we need a big.
You do need a big.
What do you think?
Much so do.
Drummond back to the Lakers?
They should have signed Dwight Howard this season.
Who do you think, Michael?
No, I think I saw that we're targeting Lopez, I think.
Brook Lopez? What is this, 04?
Yeah, stop it.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, it's tough.
I think
That's not what you need. You need more.
Maybe trade for Hartenstein?
Not happening.
Yeah, but who the hell do you think we would even give up for that? Who would we
Hachimura?
give up? Yeah, I don't want to do that because he's been playing well
No,
the
I
last
like
2 games.
Hachimura. I've always liked him.
Me
I think he's
too,
good.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
How are you gonna like
Who's the fourth?
drown the sorrows today? Is there like a Chili's or Applebee's in the works? Or?
Well, actually, it's funny you ask because today at 10 a.m. I've got a mock interview, so I gotta focus.
A job
Gotcha.
interview?
No mock interview. No mock it. No, it's
For your class?
my class. Yeah, which I need to do well in. So need
Gotcha.
to focus on that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you need to
And,
graduate so we can come to your graduation dinner.
Yes, and also my uncle's coming up here to visit me tomorrow, so we're gonna go to Applebee's then. Yes.
There you go. There you go, Michael.
Proud of you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, but you're hanging in there. That's all you could do.
Yeah, I am.
And as always, we appreciate you calling
Of
in.
course.
Hope you have a good day. Good luck with the mock interview, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Barnes and Michael. I just love your voice.
Thanks,
So
buddy.
iconic.
We love you, Michael.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right. That is the one, the only Michael Butka with early morning contact. That's going to be.
He's so happy he opened his eyes.
Yes.
That's
yes.
always a good feeling.
It is.
Because if
It
you
is.
don't,
I mean, you can finish the rest of the sentence. So really too early for an update
On
from
the
the
go.
CJ Cup Byron Nelson TBC Craig Ranch. A bunch of guys at even par, including Charlie Hoffman and Valimaki, Ryan Fox. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But should be a great day of golf there. As like I said, 2 weeks away, PGA Championship. But that being said, here we are, another great show in the books. Great having Michael back in the saddle.
Yep.
And we appreciate all of you who tuned in and continue to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives in the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee, and Jay in costume. The merch at download.com. Well, everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana. Oh.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.